According to Washington, Kentucky's first newspaper, theater in Mason County dates back to at least 1797, when the paper printed the dates and ticket prices for a performance at the courthouse. The Maysville Players don't go back quite that far, but they are one of the oldest theater groups in Kentucky, and their popularity guarantees that the curtain isn't coming down anytime soon.
Secrets, complex, and tantalizing messages.
The Maysville Players is a group of individuals, most of whom have not had theatrical experience of any kind, who come together to produce theatrical entertainment for the community. And when we first started a little over 50 years ago, our goal was to do that, to present to the community, to provide for the community good entertainment.
I have been blessed, as most communities are, to be surrounded by people who value and love and want to be a part of this. I'm always surprised at the people who are brave enough to want to put themselves out there in a play. And we often say to people, look, if you are brave enough to come down to even want to do this, then we're brave enough to put you up there.
Back in the summer of, I want to say 61 or 62, there was a group that got together just to do a summer play. And this looked like a perfect opportunity, and I called some people, and we got together, and we found the Opera Theater. That's where we started.
It has always been the heart of Maysville, not only for live performances, but just as a gathering place for the community to come together to experience something together. And I think it's been a big part of the glue that holds Maysville, together. So it's been a labor of love and worth every heartbeat of it.
The Opera House has been here in basically its current shape since the 1880s. So it has a long history. It's on the National Historic Register. It, of course, was not this beautiful when we took it over.
They got the money together, they secured it, and they bought the building in 1968 and have owned and operated it ever since as the home of the Maysville Players. The building became in disrepair and was really teetering on the edge of going away. In 2003, after they had raised almost $4 million in this community, no grants. So they refurbished it, bought buildings across the street for their sets and scene shops and costume storage, and reopened it to the public in November of 2006. And it becomes this fine, fine home that we're still, proud to have today.
You have a sense of who there is in the community that could fill certain roles, and you use that sense when you're starting to think about what you're going to do for the next season. Do we have people available to fill these roles? And there's some plays that I know back in the early days we just couldn't do because we didn't have enough men. Now they have enough men to fill some very good plays.
Every production is a major production, but one of the most major parts of any production is deciding what play you're going to do. Do you have the talent it's going to take to mount that particular production? And the process right now, as we speak, I'm already looking ahead to next season and the season beyond that. I'm always on the lookout for what I think is going to be a production that the audience is going to feel invested in and want to invest in.
You have to play to your audience. There are a lot of plays that Mike and I talk about that would be fun to do, that we'd love to see, but our audiences really crave comedy. They want something that's entertaining. They love musicals. They're terribly expensive to produce. And we have some great musical talent here.
We are educational theater in the terms that we must educate our actors in this village where we live. They've not had a lot of professional training, if any at all. So, we are constantly in the teaching just as much as we are in the producing business. We, cast the show. We allow about 5 weeks of rehearsal. It's a little tricky in community theater. I don't have people available to me during the day. You get most of your people after they're done with their day jobs or before they go to their night jobs. When you come to see a Maysville Players production, you never really know who you're going to see on that stage.
Local beauticians, local bankers, doctors, people who own shops, ordinary people. Everybody who is on that stage has a role in the community.
So once you get through the rehearsal period, our productions only run for 2 weeks, 8 performances, Thursdays through Sundays. So it's up to them. Those actors must still, maintain for those 2-week periods to get through those 8 performances and to make sure that each performance, even though theater's always different from night to night, still maintains the same, level of integrity and purpose that particular production was directed, to relate.
Almost every production we have at least a busload that comes in from Cincinnati. And we play to a big region. Maysville has a marketing area of, maybe 50, 60,000 people. It reaches out to more than just Mason, Fleming, Bracken counties.
I think one of the most difficult things when you're doing community-based theater is to be able to track down, secure, and then actually bring in technical artists, such as set designers, lighting designers, sound designers. That's a very particular art and craft that it has to be learned and taught and experienced a whole different way than actors. I've been fortunate in being able to call up a lot of great artists that I've had the pleasure to work with at other places. I go, he's a marvelous set designer. He's a marvelous lighting designer. This man really knows how to design sound, and to bring them in and to help train the local people who are interested in set design or light design and sound design. But that's a huge part of it.
I personally feel a part of it. And sometimes I will come to intermission and I'll think, did I breathe? I'm so engrossed, so involved in what's going on stage.
It has its own heartbeat, and it's a heartbeat that is shared between the audience and the actors. You couldn't have theater if we didn't have an audience out here, even if it's just one person. There's got to be one person speaking and one person listening to make great theater. So I think that's why theater is important, because it's a barometer of us, of who we are, how we live, what we've experienced.
The Holt House and the Washington Opera House are both listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Among all the 50 states, Kentucky actually has the 4th highest number of listings on the register, more than 3,200 district sites and structures. Historic homes, buildings, and battlefields are some of our favorite places here on Kentucky Life, so it's good to know we have plenty of them left to visit. I hope you'll come along with us on the next Kentucky Life.
If you'd like a DVD of this program, call 1-800-945-9167 or send an email to shop@ket.org.
Tell us what you think of the program you just watched. Call the KET Reaction Line at 800-926-7765 or email feedback@ket.org.